and welcome to this session of interior design. My name is Marta. My name is Marta Gallic. I'm an interior designer by trade. I have over 15 years of experience in the field. It's just something that I've been in my life most of my life. I went to school for interior design. I have a master's degree in interior design. I have worked at two prestigious Chicago firms, and currently am working for myself as well as taking care of my two daughters. For those of you just joining me, I wanted to create a place where we can talk about interior design, what it is, and answer some common questions in interior design. What I wanted to start with is the definition of what is an interior designer and what is interior design. Many people confuse what interior design is versus interior decorating. Those two are very different, actually, but that is for another session. I wanted to start by saying what the definition of interior design is from ASID, which is the American Society of Interior Designers, and IIDA, the International Interior Design Organization. They define interior design as the art, science, and business planning of a creative, technical, sustainable, and functional interior solution that corresponds to the architecture of a space while incorporating process and strategy for well-being, safety, and health. What else does it say? With informed decisions about style and aesthetics. Many people think that interior design is simply just about aesthetics, and while that's important, there is a lot more to it. Let's start with how does it work? Like, what is it composed of? How do you hire an interior designer? What are the benefits? So let's begin with why. So basically, when you think about your home, your space, there's a lot of questions. What furniture will work in this space? What colors will work in this space? What accessories will work in this space? Lighting. All of that are components of an interior space. So how can you choose between the different interior design styles? Let's start there. So when you have an initial consultation with an interior designer, you will discuss your likes and dislikes, and this will help to narrow down the options. Photos are very, very helpful, such as Pinterest boards. Houzz is another great website that has resources and examples of interiors that might fit your style. Also, how you want to furnish your space. For example, how you want to use the room. Is it a living room? Is it a kitchen? Is it a dining room? Is it more of a casual space, such as a rec room? So those are important things to consider when hiring an interior designer. Next, what should you look for when you interview interior designers? So you definitely want to see some before and after photos from the designer. That will be very helpful in seeing what the interior designer did to make the space changed and functional for the certain client. If the prospective interior designer does not have any pictures of a completed bathroom, for example, you may want to speak to someone else with more experience and photos to show, that room that you're interested in redesigning. Next, what interior design services should you expect from your designer? So your interior designer will provide many different services, including but not limited to things like PDF presentations, color selections, lighting design, general inspiration, such as mood boards. I call them storyboards. Basically, it's telling a story of a space. And then things like furniture selection, product research, floor planning, product and cost comparisons, flooring selections, wall and window treatments, lifestyle requirements, budget, and accessories. I know this seems like a lot, but this is what makes the design work. This is how the field is. Another thing that people are are worried about many times is, can I afford an interior design? You know, because this is a professional that you are hiring. It's not just someone like a neighbor or a friend telling you, oh, what do you think of this wall color? It goes way deeper. So, one thing that you can do is to think about what is involved in interior design. You can save money by hiring an interior designer. As crazy as that sounds, you definitely can. Industry professionals have access to discounts from multiple businesses that they can pass on to their clients. Also, you can avoid costly mistakes and purchases by utilizing a designer's professional services upfront, rather than during redo or of a space that you did not like. So, I know many times people are afraid of spending the money up front for a designer that will help them plan everything and find the selections, but also make the whole plan of the space because they're afraid. But in the long run, this is a design for many, many years to come. There's so many factors that are taken into consideration: family, how you live, how the space is, and especially things like architecture of the space. So it is an investment, but it's a worthy investment because it's your home. It's so personal and it's something that you will be in for many, many years. You invest a lot into your home. So it shouldn't be a question, or it shouldn't be something that you don't think is worth the price, because it really is. Next question that kind of ties into the last question: is it worth it to get an interior design service and services for a small living space? Let's say you just want to redo, for example, a family room. An interior designer knows how to use furnishings, colors, and art for a small space. So many things can be done to make the space look larger. For example, let's say you don't have a big house, but you want it to feel more inviting. You want to have gatherings and friends and family over. There's a lot that you can do to maximize your space. For example, a strategically placed mirror or light colors of paint can do wonders for increasing visual depth. Additionally, breaking a long, narrow room into different seating areas can add dimension. You will be amazed at how well the right interior design can turn your small living space into a functional and homey environment. Um, Another question: when I design a room, for example, what is the most important interior design advice I can give? Well, think about the primary use of the room and who will see it. For example, your bedroom is your haven and should be inviting to you. A living room or dining room is going to be seen by many people. So maybe that's where you want to make a statement. Perhaps a fun wall covering, or a mural, or a really bold piece of art. Um, how do you need the room to function for you? People will have, some people have very little storage space and maybe want to incorporate pieces of furniture that double the storage space. In an open environment, it's essential to have an interior design that flows from one room to the next. Um, in my home, we have an opening from the kitchen to the family room. Many people don't have that luxury of an open floor plan, and I know that it's a lot more involved for some people. It will involve taking down walls or putting up beams to support the walls, and that's when you get an expertise of a contractor too, to get that cost kind of figured out. But the interior design of the space is going to be the main component of how you will use the space, and whether that space will be a comfortable place to be, or whether that space will feel a little bit closed off and dark and maybe not so inviting. So that's the difference between hiring an interior designer and doing it yourself, or not getting a professional's opinion. What is the most important factor when designing a room? Well, it's good to have a clear vision of what you want. So if you're not sure, the services of an interior designer can be priceless. Interior designers do this for a living. They get an education in this. It is an amazing thing and it's fun. And for many, it's a hobby. But for the most part, you cannot call yourself an interior designer unless you have an education, at least an associate's or a bachelor's. I myself have a master's in interior design. I've studied the principles of design, many different things, including research, how a space affects, for example, education. Um, so basically, it's a priceless investment that you will appreciate once you actually trust the professional to help you. Um, Another thing is before you go out and start buying pieces of furniture and artwork that don't mix, get help narrowing down your design and theme. Some colors complement while others clash. In interior design, we learn about principles of design such as color theory, um, symmetry, all the principles of design that are important and essential in making a space flow and work. So, you want your living space to reflect your personality and be functional and inviting at the same time. Those elements are priceless to creating that aesthetically pleasing but functional environment. Um, Many people have questions about particular finishes. Should I should I pick tile? Should I pick wood? Should I pick carpet? What should I pick? Um, that's when you get an in-depth consultation with an interior designer about your desires, your goals, and lifestyle, and how you want to use the space. As a result, you'll be able to determine what flooring, wall covering, window treatments, and furnishings best suit you and your family's needs. Um, so, what questions should you expect an interior designer to ask? This is very important. Communication is essential in this field. It's important that the designer asks the clients upfront their expectations and that everyone is on the same page. So, for example, the first number one question is, what is your budget? Have you ever worked with an interior designer before? What design style do you like or have in mind? What do you want to remain in the home during the design? And will you remain in the home during the design? Is it very involved, or is it just one room, for example, that you want to change? Is there anything you absolutely do not like? So, in my experience, I have worked with many clients, and it's always interesting to see how people what people like and what people don't like, and how they are in their space, how they utilize their space, and what's important to them, what's not. I had these wonderful clients in my past experience, and the client was very vocal about what she liked and what she didn't like. I actually loved that. She was able to tell me I would have many different fabrics laid out for her to see. For example, we did a really pretty built-in bench, and we had some fabric options for the pillow as well as the cushion. And she told me up front, okay, I hate this one, I hate that one, but I love this one, for example. And that is amazing when the client can vocalize what they love and what they don't like, and don't worry about hurting the designer's feelings, because the designer wants to hear these things. It's very helpful just to get the ball rolling. It's very helpful to figure out what is important to the clients and how they want to utilize the space. This question might be a little bit common, I think, to many people that are considering it. Is this process going to be expensive? So that's an open-ended question, but here is what I think is a great answer. Start by thinking how many items it takes to get a room pulled together completely. Now imagine someone else doing it for you. This is an investment. While we absolutely must account for our time and business practices, we end up saving you money in the long run by avoiding poor buying, overspending in the wrong pieces, and just making too many misguided mistakes. The cohesive process, including our design time, should always save you money in the long run. Remember, we're doing this for you. It's our goal to make the client happy, and that's always been my goal. I love working with people, and I love to see a space transform. It's wonderful just to see how a space can be before and after, for example. I love to see those kinds of transformations. Um, it's just a wonderful thing. A lot of times we look at, HGTV, for example, is a great resource. It's a great way to see what design style do I like. Do I like how these designers put their rooms together, or do I like how those designers put their rooms together? Do I like their style? Do I like the modern farmhouse look? Do I like the more traditional look? But what we don't see on those shows is all the behind the scenes work. And I wish that there was a way to show more of that, because it's a lot more involved than what you just see on TV. Um, it's very technical. For example, when we get a project, let's say it's a kitchen, or it's a first floor remodel. There's a kitchen, bathroom, mudroom, living space, and a dining space. Let's say just a basic ranch. And the first step is to obviously meet with the clients, get their feedback, what they want, what they don't want, the budget, of course, and then measuring. The measuring part is step one. Need to make sure everything is correct. Then the plan gets put together, and that takes time. But in order to know how to maximize your space, whether it's going to be, putting on an addition or working with the existing measurements, it's important to have correct dimensions. So that is a very technical part of this field that we don't see. Even though we see that, the plans online, you see that on TV, but we don't see just how long it takes. And there's many different software that designers use. The most common one is AutoCAD, and I've had experience in AutoCAD since the year 2004. So it's been quite a while since I've known and been introduced to this field. And even in high school, I was an art major, and I was introduced to AutoCAD. But just that part. And then one major factor is being very good with communication. So between the client and the designer and the contractor and all the other trades working in a home, it's so important to have good communication. Without it, the process is not going to run as smoothly, and there'll be a lot of questions, and there might be a lot of mistakes too if the correct communication is not established. So if there's any questions, I would love to answer them. If you have any questions for me, feel free to drop me an email. I will put my email down here. And I would love to get some feedback from everyone. So again, my name is Marta. It's been a joy to do this stream, and I hope to do some more. Bye-bye.